Where did the ice cream sandwich even come from? Believe it or not, the very first known version popped up in New York City in the summer of 1899. Yes, it's that old. Street vendors, dressed in white aprons, sold slabs of vanilla ice cream pressed between two thin graham wafers for just a penny. No branding, no fancy packaging, just a cool, handheld treat to beat the heat. By the 1920s, rectangular chocolate cookies had replaced wafers, and the shape we all recognize today, flat, neat rectangles with creamy centers, began to dominate. Fast forward to today, and ice cream sandwiches have grown into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Factories around the world churn out millions of these treats every day. They're so popular that in the US alone, more than 200 million ice cream sandwiches are sold annually, making it one of the top-selling frozen novelties. The process begins not with ice cream, but with ingredients collection. Without milk, sugar, wheat, and cocoa, you simply can't make a sandwich. And the supply chain is global. Milk powder and cream often come from large dairy farms in the US, New Zealand, or parts of Europe where cows graze on lush pastures. Everything is carefully checked in quality control labs. Flour is tested for protein content, sugar is screened for particle size and purity, milk is analyzed for fat percentage, and cocoa is inspected for moisture levels. If even one ingredient doesn't meet the standard, it's rejected. Big factories can't risk producing millions of sandwiches with a flaw. The loss would be enormous. Factories actually store these ingredients differently depending on how they'll be used. The basic ingredients are milk, cream, sugar, and stabilizers. Factories often use skim milk powder instead of relying solely on fresh milk. Why? Because powder allows precise control over solids content, and it stores for months without spoiling. Fresh cream or condensed milk is then added back to adjust the fat level. For sandwich ice cream, fat content usually sits around 10%. Just enough for creaminess, but not so high that it oozes out when you bite into it. Factories don't make ice cream sandwiches one by one. They build them in synchronized flows where every cookie, every stream of ice cream, every wrapper has its place. The cooled chocolate biscuits that were stacked earlier are automatically loaded into hoppers. From there, robotic arms or vibrating feeders place them neatly onto moving conveyor belts. The line spaces them out in perfect intervals, one cookie every few inches, to match the timing of the ice cream deposit. Inside, the ice cream is kept at just the right serving temperature, around -5 degrees Celsius, and pushed through nozzles under high pressure. When the conveyor brings a cookie into position, the nozzle drops a perfectly measured slab of ice cream right on top. It's not scooped, it's extruded. The thickness of that ice cream block isn't random. Factories design it to be slightly thicker than the cookies combined, creating that signature bite where ice cream dominates but the cookies still frame it. Usually it's around 1.5 to 2 centimeters. Too thin and customers feel cheated. Too thick and it becomes difficult to bite through before the cookies break. By the time a sandwich reaches the supermarket freezer, it has survived a complex process. Baked cookies, frozen fillings, precision assembly, and all of that so you can peel back the wrapper in seconds and take a bite.
Let's be honest, do you eat mushrooms like a lot? Because research says, on average, one person can consume about 4 to 6 kilograms each year, but clearly they don't mean me, as I do the opposite. This video will explain why I can rely on store-bought mushrooms. The beautiful journey of growing those button mushrooms always starts with making the perfect mix, which is going to be responsible for mushroom growth, which typically includes carbon, nitrogen, water, and a few extras to set up a cozy bed so the mushrooms grow happy and strong, hypothetically, of course. Each ingredient is carefully weighed out based on the specific type of mushroom they're going to grow. And yeah, mushrooms often grow in soil. They're not plants. This amazing process is made possible by microorganisms like bacteria and fungi. They break down organic material, resulting in a dark, loose product that's perfect for boosting soil quality. We usually say, turning waste into gold. Now for the most important step, turning the compost. As the compost matures, turning can be cut down to once a week or even every 2 weeks. Well-turned compost leads to healthier mushrooms with amazing flavor and higher yields. During this heat processing, the harmful microorganisms that are possible to grow inside the mushrooms later will be eliminated at this spot. It's key to making sure mushrooms are safe and free from any pathogens that could threaten consumer health. Isn't it an icing on a cake? I mean, machines being the most helpful tool for such an hectic task. Mushrooms are living organisms, so even after they're harvested, they keep respiring. This means they'll produce heat, which can lead to breakup if it's not managed right. That's where rapid cooling comes in. It slows down their metabolism. Check out that compost. You may not be able to figure out that difference, but it's super healthy now to give birth to those button mushrooms we can't live without. As soon as the compost is ready, it's all packed into large plastic wraps so they can be easily transported to the dedicated factories. The experts use those heavy conveyor belts to move packed compost from conveyors and carriers to bigger containers. During the process, factory workers keep an eye on the compost as it moves along, making sure everything runs smoothly and catching any issues like blockages or spills at that point. Machines gently press down the compost to make sure it settles in just right to get rid of air pockets that could mess with fungi growth. Also, some specialized machines take care of the regular turning of the compost. Watering usually takes place after the compost has been spread to flourish and develop into healthy mushrooms. What a great sight it is! Millions of mushrooms are growing right in front of our eyes, and all of this has become possible only because of these greater industrial systems. The sights that come with mushroom bulking are not just satisfying, they showcase the beauty and complexity of nature's processes, especially how much effort must have gone into those unlimited productions. This method relies completely on machines, from cutting to sorting to collecting the bulk easily through machines. As they ride on conveyor belts all the way to sorting stations, super smart robots check each mushroom for top-grade mushroom packaging. Once the mushrooms are harvested, they need to reach the processing facility fast, really fast. Unlike many other crops that can sit for a while after harvesting, mushrooms are incredibly delicate. They start losing moisture and freshness almost immediately, which is why they're usually sent for processing within hours of being picked. Here, the precision machines make sure every tray has the perfect portion. This isn't just to make them look good, but to equally package them by weight, so we have a lot of options while buying them from grocery stores, depending upon our needs. Workers stand alongside the conveyor belts and collect those button mushrooms manually. Okay, this helps to collect only the mature mushrooms and leave the ones that need more time. That's the beauty of traditional methods. They can save the mess and the hassle of repeated sorting. Simply collect the ones you need and nothing will go to waste, but of course it's a bit time and energy consuming. Are canned mushrooms already cooked? Yes, but only partially. Blanching softens them slightly, but they'll get more heat treatment later inside the can. That's why they have that tender but slightly chewy bite. Cooking doesn't turn them into mush because the heat is carefully controlled. If you've ever had canned mushrooms, you know they have a milder, slightly deeper umami flavor compared to fresh ones. Hey, not all mushrooms are edible. Those might look cool but can make you super sick, so be careful what you're consuming and from where you get your food. It might not feel something unusual, but mushrooms double in size every 24 hours when they reach their growth peak. This means a picker has to judge which ones are ready almost to the minute. And they don't ripen after being harvested. Unlike bananas or tomatoes that continue to mature off the plant, mushrooms stay exactly as they are. Now listen to something even surprising. Mushrooms are never washed with water before slicing. That might sound strange, but there's a good reason. Those pre-packed sliced mushrooms are just love. Since only the usable part is packed, you're not tossing stems or spoiled pieces into the trash. Small mushrooms absorb flavor much faster than larger ones, so they need less time in the marinade. Keeping them apart ensures that every mushroom tastes the same in the final batch. Factories use special liquid batter made from flour, water, and other spices, and the breading material with the blend of light spices to taste better. The oil temperature is usually set between 170 degrees to 180 degrees Celsius, hot enough to cook the mushrooms quickly without soaking up too much oil. The entire frying time is usually 2 to 3 minutes. One small but interesting trick is the use of double frying in some factories. The mushrooms are fried once, cooled down slightly, then fried again for a shorter time. This gives the coating that extra crunch. Once the mushrooms are processed, cleaning the factory starts right away. The leftover mud and compost need to be completely removed until next time. In 1793, one man's invention freed cotton from its seeds in minutes instead of days. Now, centuries later, massive machines harvest acres in hours, transforming fluffy white bowls into the clothes we wear. From ancient hand-picking to modern automation, cotton continues to shape our world today. Want to take a look? Come with me. Across vast plains of Texas, unlimited land ready to flourish, the cotton plants stretching toward the horizon. After months of growth, the green plants have transformed, now standing about waist high, their branches heavy with fluffy white bolls. This is the moment farmers have been waiting for, the cotton plants ready to be harvested any minute. In the past, harvesting cotton was brutal, backbreaking work. Each boll had to be picked by hand, one at a time. They could pick about 150 pounds of cotton a day, but it was exhausting. Fast forward to today, and things look very different. These modern marvels bear little resemblance to their ancestors from just decades ago. Modern cotton harvesting is a race against time, and it's all done by machines. What's fascinating is that at the front, rotating spindles delicately pluck cotton from each plant, preserving the valuable fibers. But the real revolution happens at the back, where an innovation has transformed the industry forever: the continuous round baling system. As cotton moves through the harvester, it's compressed and shaped into massive cylindrical bales, each wrapped in protective yellow material. Once the cotton is pulled from the plants, why doesn't it go straight to the factory? That's the problem, you know. It's too light and loose to transport efficiently. If left in this state, it would take up way too much space in trucks, warehouses, and ships. That's where baling comes in. Now, the very first challenge is removing unwanted materials that made their way from the fields. Unlike Whitney's original wooden device, today's gins are massive machines stretching several stories high. They separate seeds and fibers with incredible accuracy, processing tons of cotton every hour. Before machines took over, cotton ginning was slow and painful. People had to pick the sticky seeds out by hand. Oh my God, it couldn't get any worse. Now the cotton slivers are fed into a machine that does something surprisingly simple, but incredibly important. It stretches them out. The cotton is passed through a combing machine, which comb the cotton threads with thousands of tiny metal teeth. Now the cotton strands are stretched thinner and given a slight twist to hold the fibers together. Then the cotton passes through high-speed rotating spindles that pull, stretch, and tightly twist the fibers into continuous strands of yarn. You must know that different weaving patterns create different types of fabrics. Plain weave is the simplest and most common, used in cotton shirts, bed sheets, and canvas. The biggest advantage of knitted fabric is its flexibility and comfort. One of the most common finishing treatments is softening, where the fabric is treated with special chemicals or natural enzymes to break down stiff fibers and create a silky smooth texture. Once all that bleaching and dyeing is completed, the fabric in process gives a serene sight you might want to watch peacefully. What's that fragrance? It seems like something huge is being baked. Just like you guessed, it's the batch of millions of crepes being made in factories. I am one of those freaks who is completely mad about fancy breakfast, and for that reason, I love having crepes loaded with lots of berries and cream in the morning. Undoubtedly, flour is the backbone of any crepe, so this is our first stop. The harvested wheat is transported to storage silos. Now the process is typical. The grains will be cleaned, tempered, and milled into superfine flour. Oh, absolutely. Crepes almost always include eggs. They're one of those amazing ingredients that holds everything together and gives crepes their soft, flexible texture. With the simple science, the proteins in eggs help the batter bind, while the yolks add richness. It ends up being the most delicious breakfast ever. Those industries also have amazing machines that can crack, separate, and measure the eggs at lightning speed. If you only use yolks, your crepes would be richer but a bit heavy. And if you used just whites, they'd be lighter but lack that signature creamy texture. So when in doubt, crack the whole egg. Once the carefully sourced ingredients arrive at the factory, it's time for them to meet and mingle in the batter preparation stage. There are two typical methods to make crepes in any factory, one of which is a cylindrical stove to pick the right amount of batter. Spread it in perfectly round shape and pass it along to the massive, flat griddle plates heated to the perfect temperature. For larger scale operations, conveyor belts carry the partially cooked crepe to a second griddle where it cooks on the other side for around 15 to 20 seconds. The other method looks like this, the typical batter dispenser. Crepe day, or la chandeleur as they call it in France, is such a charming tradition, only if I said it right. It's celebrated every February 2nd and has roots that go way back. While it has religious origins tied to the presentation of Jesus at the temple, it's become more widely known and loved as Crepe Day in modern times. If you wondered, the type of wheat you use for crepes makes a huge difference. Let's start with regular wheat. This is the most common choice for sweet crepes as it has a mild flavor, letting the sweetness of your toppings shine. Now comes buckwheat, which is a whole different vibe. It's gluten-free and darker and has a nuttier, earthier flavor. It's more commonly used in savory crepes, like galettes from Brittany, France. With the crepes perfectly cooked and cooled, it's time for filling and stacking. With the crepes folded, filled, or stacked, it's time for the big finish, packaging and freezing. Hey, you smart people! Enjoying the video? Show us some love by hitting the like button and saving this video so it stays right there in your list to watch again later. Check out those big buddies conveniently handling the most back-breaking task. The workers who belong there must be grateful for sure. Waffles are one of those snacks that have a simple yet magical appeal. Now, think about enjoying a crispy waffle from a factory line, the kind that's perfectly crisped, golden brown, and ready to be devoured in just a few minutes. It seems tempting, isn't it? Waffles are made with a process called flash baking. This involves a quick heat blast, which crisps up the outside of the waffles in seconds, ensuring they stay crunchy longer and have a crispier texture when you bite into them. After baking, the waffles are carefully cooled to maintain their crispy texture. It's important to prevent moisture from making the waffles soggy. When you see those perfectly cut cubes coated in glossy chocolate and wrapped up neatly, have you ever wondered how they're made in factories? The chocolate dropping system is where each cube is guided under a controlled chocolate flow, sometimes called a chocolate curtain. This silky cascade of melted chocolate ensures every cube gets an even coating. Whether you're enjoying them with cheese, spreads, or just on their own, there's something deeply satisfying about those crackers, specifically their crunch and lightness. Some crackers are perforated with tiny holes, which isn't just for decoration, obvious. Those holes, called docking holes, help prevent air bubbles from forming during baking. These cookies are somehow a cultural icon in South Korea and beyond. Known for their wholesome, lightly sweet taste and satisfying crunch, these cookies have become a go-to treat for generations. Speaking of cultural impact, digit cookies have become a staple in lunchboxes and tea times across South Korea. I don't want to put an end to this amazing video so soon, so you watch this luscious chocolate coating scene while we move to the next part of our video.